up 'cause I'm such a junkie. Every day all I want is more. So entertain me right now. So entertain me right now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pop Culture Junkie Podcast. My name is Shauna, and I am here with my fellow junkies,
Olivia.
And Nicole.
So I recently got the chance to talk to somebody pretty cool. His name is Ansel Faraj. He is an independent director, a screenwriter, a producer, and we had a lot in common. I could have kept going with this interview for a long time. This guy's so cool. Very much into monsters and horror, so...
That's very cool.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So thanks for being
awesome.
on the podcast, Ansel, and you can listen to the interview now. Okay, everybody, Shauna here, and I am joined by a special guest. We have with us today Ansel Faraj. He is an award-winning independent director, screenwriter, and producer. Thank you for coming to the Pop Culture Junkie podcast, Ansel.
Thank you very much for having me.
I love your shirt, by the way. Oh my gosh, I know this is just audio, but Ansel's shirt is filled with like universal horror. What do we got in here?
It's Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, and the Mummy. I got it for my birthday a couple years ago.
I was about to say happy birthday, but I guess that doesn't really.
No, a bit too soon. Yeah, and I had a meeting today, and I wore it to the meeting. So.
Oh my god, I love that. I love that was the meeting shirt, right? It's like you gotta kind of rep what you're interested in. I got my Pop Culture Junkie t-shirt on.
That and my surfer shirt on the boat below.
I love it. Sometimes I feel kind of like a jerk for wearing this, though, because it's like a picture of me on it. The kind of person wears a picture of themselves on their own t-shirt. Anyway, I digress. Thank you again for being here today. Let the audience know who you are. What are you into? What kind of films are you directing? What got you started in this amazing career that you've formed for yourself?
Yeah, I'm an independent director, as you said in the intro, and I mostly have worked in the thriller, fantasy, horror genre, but I do I don't want to call them mainstream films, but traditional movie. I've made a love story, Will and Liz.
Oh.
I have a comedy coming up called The Great Nick D. I'm versatile. I work in all sorts of genre, but I'm sort of best known for my work in the spooky side of things with my film Loon Lake, which is based on a Minnesota folktale of Mary Jane, the Witch of Loon Lake.
Yeah.
The Dr. Mabuse trilogy that came out in 2012 and 2013, 2014, and 2020.
And you say that's a trilogy, right?
It's a trilogy.
That's awesome.
It's a trilogy.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
Mabuse,
Yeah.
is that how you pronounce it?
Dr. Mabuse, yeah, it's German supervillain.
Ooh, love
And
that.
Fritz Lang had done a couple films about him way back when, and I sort of rebooted the character and told 3 new tales, and that was actually sort of that was my first professional film. I was very young. I was 20 years old.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
We did it. And I'd always been making movies, like since I was 6 years old. I was doing this, and I would, use my VHS camcorder and my Universal Monster action figures, and then friends from school. And I did not attend film school. I'm fully self-taught.
Awesome.
Grew up in front of Turner Classic Movies and a lot of books from the library. And and then 20 years old, I did Dr. Mabuse, and it starred Jerry Lacey, Catherine Lee Scott, Laura Parker, all from Dark Shadows, and Lyndon Childs, who'd done Twilight Zone. He worked with Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh,
He was
wow.
on Monsters. He'd done a lot. And that was the start of everything.
And
So
you live in
yeah.
Los Angeles, right? So did you grow up there? Were all of your films originally all directed there?
Yeah, I'm from LA. Having said that, I'm not a nepo baby.
Who's your dad, Ansel?
I have no industry. I grew up not having any industry connections and nothing.
Fully self-taught.
Nothing.
That's awesome.
Full, yeah, out here from Venice Beach and just like doing it myself and somehow making it happen. Yeah, and yeah, that's me.
That's an amazing journey. Did you always know that it was going to be horror and kind of spooky films? You said it was like your action figures, right? So that's always kind of been your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I was always in with the Universal Monsters and Hammer Horror and Roger Corman and Dark Shadows and always writing horror stories and stuff in school and yeah, but also as I said, I don't like to stick to one thing. Like one day I'm going to make a musical. I did make a musical when I was 17. When I was in my senior years of high school. I gathered everybody together. I said, we're going to make a Ken Russell-esque rock opera about Faust. And it'll be a jukebox musical. And they all were like, who's Ken Russell and what's Faust? And wait, what are we doing? And I'm like, no, just
go along with it.
Learn these songs and then we're going to shoot it. All right. And then we did.
That sounds amazing. I remember those experiences from high school and college, just getting the handheld camcorder. And some of it was for school projects and others was just goofing around. And that's how you hone those skills. Absolutely. I got the chance to watch Todd Tarantula, and I absolutely loved it. It was so unique.
You did.
Yeah, I'll admit when it first started, I was like, where is this going? This guy's like a motorcycle rider. And then as soon as I don't want to spoil it for anybody, watching or listening, but like as soon as the mystery kicks in, I was absolutely like, what on earth is going on here? When he's talking on the handheld to his dad's assistant, those were my favorite scenes because it was just so tense.
Thank you. That means a lot. Todd Tarantula, that's something I'd wanted to make since I was 17. And many, many years of trying to get money and trying to, trial by fires and failing. And finally I got to make it when the lockdowns and all that kind of subsided. And I paid for that out of pocket. I bussed tables, I managed a kitchen, and I, waited on people and bartended and just saved every cent to make that film.
Hell yeah. I know that bartending life.
Not fun. It's not Cocktail with Tom Cruise.
No, it is not.
But anyway, Todd Tarantula. It's been a real passion project of mine, and we finally made it. We shot it all in the month of June in 2022, and it opened last year. And David Selby is in it. He won Best Supporting Actor for his role as Lucifer, and now it's up for Best Independent Film in the Rondos. So if you do vote, I hope you'll consider a real grassroots independent film.
What is the Rondos? I'm not too familiar with that.
The Rondo Awards, or the Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards, are the sort of the People's Choice Award for horror and sci-fi and the genre at large.
Awesome.
And it started from the Classic Horror Film Board, and I've won a couple and.
Sick.
Yeah.
Everybody vote for Todd Tarantula. It was so unique. The I guess film style or the art style that you went with. What
the rotoscope.
What kind of drew you to that, and why did you want to film it that way?
It always just felt like, the story is not your normal conventional story. It's a larger than life mystery that delves into urban legends of Los Angeles and Angeles history, and it's sort of drug fueled and very surreal. And originally, when we were going to make it a decade plus ago, it felt more like a science fiction Blade Runner-esque cyberpunk thing. Blade Runner. And it's classic, and especially if you're from LA, like that movie freaked me out when I was very young. It's LA 2016, and I was like, I don't want to live in that LA.
That what it's really gonna be like?
I like 1994. 1994 was good. But by the time that we finally did make it, now we have AI technology and smartphones with the Siri and all this. The metaverse was being talked about, and I was like, these are things that I was writing about in Todd Tarantula. These things they freak me out. I don't like that, And so the movie felt less sci-fi and more timely. But I wanted it. That's a long answer to your question. I'm sorry.
Never
but,
apologize. I love it. That's amazing. It's better than short. Yeah, I guess.
But to answer your question on the style, yeah, it felt like a larger than life cartoon, and I always envisioned it as like a Japanese anime like Akira, or like a 70s French comic book that something like Mobius would have drawn, where it's very like rich in color, and rotoscoping was just the right way to bring that story to life, and it adds to the drug fueled nature of the main character, and he doesn't know if he's in reality or if he's tripping, or what place in time is he in. And
I totally agree. Like, and there's some shots that it just adds so much to the creepiness. Like when they're like on a random street in LA and the fog starts rolling in. And it just gets so intense with the rotoscoping when the fog is there. And then all of a sudden his friend is like pulled away. The scene that freaked me out the most, oh my gosh, I guess we're just going to spoil this movie a little bit. When you see his dad, I'll say that, oh my God, that shook me. Oh, yeah. Was that all, filmed just in your house? Did you have like a good set for that? That was amazing.
I did graduate over time to, some locations and stages and stuff. It's not all I started out in a garage with a blue screen cyclone.
Yeah.
And now it's not that anymore. But no, we had a set that we sort of built and dressed. And lit. And so, we shot, there was a lot that was done in camera that was all practical effects, and there was stuff for the actors to interact with, and it wasn't a bunch of green screen and imagination. We were there, and that was a cool set. That was a long day.
That's amazing. I think there's so much lost to like the beauty of practical effects and practical sets, and no hate in CG or special effects, and those artists work so hard. But Marvel movies and stuff, sometimes those things are all just filmed on a green screen or a blue screen, I guess. But there's something kind of tangible and creepy when there's just tubes and sheets and in an actual practical set, and that kind of adds to the kind of like the 80s cyberpunk aesthetic too, kind of those like Dune, the original Dune movies and Blade Runner. Like I loved that. Yeah, absolutely. So your movie that you're promoting right now is called The Great Nick D. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It is a project my frequent filmmaking collaborator, Nathan Wilson. He's been talking to me for years about this guy that he's wanted to play. It's a washed-up porn star. I said, okay, well, what's the story? And so, what's the story? It's about he's a Nick D.
The great Nick D.
He's a washed-up porn star and a Venice Beach nobody, and he embarks on this odyssey to restart his mainstream acting career, so that he can win back the lost love of his life, who's now like the equivalent of Meryl Streep. And so, not just your normal run-of-the-mill love story. And there's a musical number at the end, and we just like it. It was it's a film that we've been talking about for years and years and years and years. And finally, actually, while we were shooting Todd Tarantula, Nate was like, we just got to do it. Let's just do it. And so we prepped and we shot last April till September. It was a very long shoot and many, many characters in many locations. And we have a really great cast. It's, again, with the Dark Shadows thing. So we have David Selby, Catherine Lee Scott, Laura Parker in her final film role, Lisa Richards. We have Olan Jones, who's worked with Tim Burton frequently. Wow. And we have Sam Irvin, he's a film director. He's directed Elvira's Haunted Hills. And he's a good friend of mine. I called him up. I said, Sam, this is the Fabelman, Steven Spielberg's movie was playing. And David Lynch plays John Ford in that, in a cameo. So I said, Sam, I need you to be my David Lynch and come in and do this role. And and then we have all these wonderful new young actors that are coming up, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Long shoot, but
That's
fun.
really cool. I watched some of the clips on gosh, I guess it was like a trailer, and it's just Nick D just kind of talking to the camera about, hey, I got a movie coming out, and it just seems so funny. Just that energy of just, yeah, just like a California dude who's like, I'm going on a journey, man. Like, I love it.
It's a fun character.
Do you have, you mentioned you have a partner that you work with on a lot of films, right? Do you have a lot of the same actors who kind of follow you film to film?
Yeah, I do sort of like to have a repertoire company that I can rely on, and give them different roles to change, not change
Flex
it up,
their
but
muscles
like
a little bit. Yeah.
give them things that I know that they don't normally get to do, and see, what's something crazy that you're a really like calm, normal person. Let me give you something that's just out of this world, and also, with grassroots independent filmmaking, there's no money, there's no time, there's never time, there's hardly a crew, and so you need people that can deliver and deliver well, and be reliable. And so there's a group of people that I do rely on to come and fill in, and it makes the job easier. It's a little more fun. It's like a bunch. We've all on this film, we called in everybody that we've worked with in the past that are like really good friends and stuff. And so it was kind of fun seeing actors that we'd worked with, 10 years ago on something come back and like, hey, how have you been?
Catching up, having some fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Especially on a comedy. I feel like that's the perfect chance to do it because there's inherently going to be silliness and you can play around and just kind of create those scenes together.
Yeah, although I think making horror films, you're crazier behind the scenes. Like there's actually more laughter and more just like shenanigans with horror.
Because you have to break up between like something devastating just happened on screen.
Yeah, and also like someone's getting made up to be undead or something. Like when we shot Loon Lake, which is this folk horror film that we did in Minnesota, we had like fake dead birds and axes, and we were chopping off the witch's head, and just like that's just I don't know. It's
that's my dream. I want to be in a horror film, and I just want to be splattered with blood. I just want just goo, right? Like the boys, I always see the behind the scenes pics of them, and they're just dripping. Love it.
Yeah. No, it's just fun. It's comedies. There's a lot more. It's more serious behind the scenes. There's a lot more thought and a lot more discussion that's happening because comedy and horror are similar in that there's a rise and a fall and, releasing a tension or building tension, what have you. But with horror, so much of it is created in the editing. With comedy, it's performance and it's timing and it's precision and it's like music. It's like hitting that note. So you're talking a lot more like intellectually is the wrong word, but you're a little more in depth together behind the scenes on something like The Great Nick D versus, Loon Lake or Todd Tarantula, where it's like, okay, well today this guy's a lizard. So
oh my God, the lizard was so out of nowhere and I loved it.
Well, that comes from Los Angeles mythology. There's this whole LA history of like in downtown LA are there supposedly there, and I want to believe it because I'm just that kind of guy. The lizard people of Los Angeles, and there's tunnels supposedly under Bunker Hill, and there's a lost city of gold.
I hope so.
Way back when they founded LA, there was some sort of deal that was made. I mean, like all sorts of crazy shit, and I just pulled from a lot of Los Angeles folklore and history for Todd Tarantula.
Kind of a love letter to LA, yeah.
It is totally. It's my LA film. Repo Men, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Southland Tales, which nobody likes with me, but those are all like LA movies, and I wanted this. This is my LA film, and especially being from LA, being an Angelino, if you want to call me that, an Angelina. It sounds so weird, but
I'm a Phoenician. It's equally as weird.
Okay.
No, I totally
yeah.
got that. I mean, I've lived in Arizona, but I've gotten the chance to visit LA a lot, and it absolutely had that LA feel to it. Like, it made me want to go on vacation. It made me want to do drugs and ride a motorcycle to California. I mean,
while Todd is trying to escape to the desert, which we picked in Arizona. Yeah. No, it's a wild movie. I'm very proud of it.
So you mentioned that you want to do a musical someday. Do you have anything on deck that you're going to work on next, or anything you can kind of tease us with?
Most of my life since last April has been consumed by the great Nick D. I've been, and it won't come out until June on Blu-ray and DVD only. We're not doing a streaming release. We're very pro-physical media for this one. So, and it's a combo pack. So you buy it once, you'll get a Blu-ray disc with a bunch of special features, and you get a DVD that also has the film. But I've been writing. I've got a couple things that I'm thinking of, and I don't know what those will be.
We'll just have to follow you on Instagram and kind of follow your journey and stay tuned. So, it's the Pop Culture Junkie podcast. We've already kind of talked about your beginnings and your interest in Universal horror, but I want to hear more about your main fandoms. What are your favorite movies? I mean, you've mentioned so many, which are some of my favorite movies too. So we're vibing, Ansel. I love it. But what are you watching now? What are you into? What are your main pop culture obsessions?
I mean, that's like not a fair question.
No, there's so many, I know.
I mean, if we have acknowledged Universal Monsters, if we've acknowledged, Roger Corman, Vincent Price movies, I mean, I'll say like 5 favorite movies.
Let's do it. I love it.
The Prestige.
That's a good movie.
That is Nolan's best movie. That's Nolan's best movie. Dark Knight was a game changer, but Prestige, there's so much to unpack with that movie. Time and time again, I've seen that movie countless times. Every time I see it, I see something new. I interpret the story in a new way. That's his best film.
That is a movie that I left the theater and I was just, it stuck with me for days. You just keep running over it and over it in your mind. And I honestly haven't watched it in years, so I'm going to have to do that. It's very
underrated. It's I tell everyone, I'm like, you guys got to watch The Prestige. And then there'll be people that have never heard of it. I'm like,
it's amazing. Yeah. We're off to a good start here so far.
The Prestige, I'm going to be very film geeky. Fellini, I do love Fellini. His film Juliet of the Spirits.
Okay.
He did acid before it's his first Technicolor film, and he dropped acid before he shot it so he could
and it worked. 10 out of 10 would drop acid again.
So, good movie. What's another favorite of mine? Black Narcissus. It's a British film from the 40s about a group of nuns starting a convent in the Himalayas, and they all go mad.
That sounds amazing.
There was a remake. There was a remake on FX that the BBC did like 2 years ago, and I hated it. But the original is a great movie. Pretty wild. Again, Technicolor, just like vividness and very mystical. And what's another movie I could think of? We already covered.
You named so many. These are all amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm also a fan of horror. And you mentioned Elvira earlier, and I love her. Yeah. My favorite show of all time is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So anything that's kind of horror camp adjacent is that's the sweet spot for me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say Dark Shadows is camp, but Dark Shadows is there was no Buffy without Dark Shadows. There was no Forever Night, if anybody remembers that show, without Dark Shadows.
I don't remember Forever Night. Is that another vampire, long forgotten vampire show?
He's a cop, or he's a detective, and he's like a Canadian thing. It was on Sci-Fi Channel when back in the 90s, and but Yeah. And then veering, I love Bob's Burgers.
And that is called range, my friend. Absolutely.
Totally on the opposite end of the spectrum. I can quote that show.
Bob's Burgers is
but,
a great like palate cleanser. If you watch something like super effed up and you're like, okay, I need to just kind of, I need a hug.
Bob's Burgers is my feel-good show, especially when I'm depressed and frustrated and hating my life. I'm okay, I'll watch Bob's Burgers.
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, what's your show that you put on? I guess Bob's Burgers, like you said, when you're just kind of like, I need this in the background. I need something low stakes. Yeah.
Bob's Burgers, The Office, when it was on Netflix. Yeah, I mean, I don't do that much TV. I should do more, but I get like all consumed with movies and.
Awesome. Any good films that you watched? I mean, any of the Oscar nominated ones that you thought were amazing this year?
Well, Godzilla minus one,
right? Incredible,
devastating,
incredible.
Yeah, I mean that was a I mean, everybody was like, "Oh, it's really good, it's really good," and I saw it the second weekend, so I was like, "Okay." The internet can say a lot of things, and I don't always believe it. So I go in, and I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan. I do really like Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. It's so weird.
All of the camp Godzilla movies where he kind of like goes on his tail and flies across screen.
Yeah. So I go in, and the audience was very much Godzilla fans, and the old Toho logo, the whole theater gasped. And then when it really, it got going and stuff, I'm like, oh, wait, this is really good. And then they played the theme, and then like it just got better and better and better. And by the time it was over, I was just like emotionally devastated and like on the verge of tears. I'm like, this is the movie, because Akira Kurosawa, who did Seven Samurai, and he's one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. He was friends with Ishiro Honda. And he always wanted to make a Godzilla movie, and Toho was like, no. You make epics, and we don't do epic Godzillas. We do cheap, and you're too expensive. And no, that's never. One. And like, this was that movie. This was that Akira Kurosawa Godzilla.
I didn't think I was going to cry in a Godzilla movie, and I absolutely was crying.
I don't think anybody thought they were going to cry.
What is happening to my body right now?
We all went through something.
We were all in there, going through it.
Everybody sat in the theater too, like during the credits, and it wasn't like, everybody just like had an experience. We were all so that was amazing. I liked Oppenheimer, Nolan. I really liked Anatomy of a Fall. If anybody saw that,
on my list.
That was really good.
I've been trying to make my way through. I just finished Poor Things.
I love that.
I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Emma Stone was amazing, and it's just it's laugh out loud funny at times.
Yeah, it is. Mark Ruffalo.
Oh my god, right? He's just so.
Yeah, it was good. I really liked Barbie.
Barbie's incredible.
I've watched Barbie more than once. I'll admit it. Also, it's Venice, so I was like that too. I really liked that. I thought Ryan Gosling, and also I love what he did. I'm Just Ken at the Oscars.
He's so awesome. Kitsch. I love that he totally just leaned into it in the pink velvet suit. And I love that the original Kens like served as his backup dancers. Like these are actual big time actors. Like Doctor Who is back there in this right now dancing as a Ken.
They did a good show. Like that was and everybody, like even Scorsese, like there was a video that I think Scorsese's daughter put, and he's just like digging it, and it was good. I thought that was a good show. I mean, I've seen, there's been a lot that's come out.
So much, I know. So I'm getting the vibe that you and I are from the same generation. What growing up, like, what were some of your favorite TV shows? Or, I mean, you mentioned anime in passing. Are you still an anime fan? Or
I've not really been an anime fan. I mean, I really like Akira. I think that's a good film. I was that weird kid that was talking about Humphrey Bogart, and everybody else was like, Pikachu? Like
sure, man, Pikachu. Yeah, totally.
But TV shows that I watched growing up. Now we're gonna like start dating ourselves, aren't we?
I've been doing that for years on this podcast.
90210. I watched that. I watched Friends, Home Improvement. I mean, this is like so 90s. Home Improvement, Seventh Heaven,
Seventh Heaven.
Buffy,
Oh my god.
Times. What else was on? But then I was like watching TCM. There was like there was a horror show. I remember there was X-Files. When I was
We're big
allowed to
X-Files
that,
fans here too.
I had to sneak that one past my parents because like that, like we're not going to put up with your nightmares. And I remember I do remember the episode with the mom on the tray under the bed.
Like things you're probably not supposed to be watching.
Like a really scary, like the one they still talk about.
Yeah.
I remember that. My sister and like Stephen King's It. My sister and I watched that, and that did a number on me with Tim Curry.
I remember watching Poltergeist as a child and Pet Sematary and thinking, I shouldn't be watching this. This is going to affect me later. Like, I'm making a mistake by watching this.
Yeah.
And now I watch them again, and I'm like, okay, I mean, now I love that stuff. But as a kid, I was like, this is going to mess with me, isn't it?
Yeah. There was always like a couple movies that I always wanted to see. But then weirdly, like my mom would show me Dracula with Frank Langella, which is like R-rated. That was my first R-rated movie. It's very sexy.
Yeah.
I was very young, and I think she just wanted to watch it. We had it on videotape. I think she really wanted to watch it herself.
Fine. It'll be okay.
And she's like, "Are you scared? Are you scared? You're not scared? Okay."
There's boobs. Just cover his eyes a little bit.
Yeah, or no. I think I just stood there and watched it. There wasn't much censorship on that one. There was a lot more with like Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah, there's a lot of boobies in that movie.
Kind of freaked me out. Yeah, there's a lot of boobs in that one. But the videotape cover kind of freaked me out. And my dad, I remember he did a weekend where it was Blade Runner, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea with James Mason, and Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
He showed you some good films.
They did. Blade Runner also did a number on me for the aforementioned reasons, because I was like, I don't like the future if it's going to be like that. I remember Interview with the Vampire was a very big deal. My mom would tell me the stories of Anne Rice's books, but would censor it a bit, so all the like homoeroticism and all that stuff was left out from my 4-year-old
That's the entire
ears.
film. It's just all homoeroticism.
And especially now, the new show, it's very
I
graphic.
haven't caught the new show yet, but I know, gosh, it has that actor from Game of Thrones, and I can't believe I don't remember his name, but I really liked him in Game of Thrones, so I've been thinking maybe I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. I'm still on the fence, but the movie was a big deal. Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise was a big, that was a big
you
one.
grew up with watching some pretty important films, absolutely, and then the normal cheesy stuff.
Like that. Yeah, and then like I would watch Amadeus and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest a lot, and it took me forever to convince my parents to let me see The Shining, and it was always like the barometer of, okay, are you gonna have a nightmare? Do we have to deal with this later, or are you gonna?
How far can you push it until you don't have those nightmares, and you're like, oh, this is kind of what I want to do with my life now.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm not scared. Just give me 5 more minutes more, and then I'm like hiding behind the pillow. No, on the flip side, like you had Disney movies. Like I used to run behind the couch with Snow White, like the Queen, and then the Witch, and the Four. Like I'd be behind the couch hiding.
It's got like Satan on a cliff. Like that stuff's scary.
Right. Pinocchio. But then Frank Langella and Dracula with making out with crazy Floyd lasers and stuff. So
I see.
It's cool. This is fine. I can deal with it.
It sounds like a lot of the movies that you watched, formed who you are today. And like the films that you were interested in and watched kind of formed what you wanted to make.
Oh, yeah.
And, so
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I got the whole musical thing from my sister with all the MGM Judy Garland musicals she would have on repeat. And so, yeah, I mean, but yeah, your formative years, you're going to be influenced by what's immediately surrounding you. So like now my nephew, who's 2.5, it's been nothing but like, I've got him, I'll say, what does King Kong do? And he beats on his chest. And what does Frankenstein do? And he walks and we howl like the Wolf Man. So I'm like,
bringing him up right. Know all the good ones.
Yeah, and the Phantom, and he'll like hide his face behind like a cape, and so I'm like, yep, I've done my duty. He's gonna direct.
How did you feel about a couple years ago they were going to make that the Universal verse, right? And they were going to have the Mummy,
They needed to call me.
right?
They needed to call
Honestly,
me.
and I just totally
I
dumped
got very
them.
mad. And I was working on a film. There was a production company at Universal, and they were interested in me doing a film, and I was writing a thing for them. And so I was there at the same time, and I'm like, where are the offices for these people? Because I know how to do this.
Right.
And what you're doing is, yeah, like, and I guess they're still trying to do those. They still need to call me.
I totally agree. I mean, the original.
That's very arrogant of me to say, but like,
You know what? I love it. They need to call you. You obviously know what you're doing. Look at your shirt, man.
yeah. I mean, yeah, the Mummy doing it as an action thing was wrong.
I totally agree. It was so off base.
Yeah.
So one final question.
This might be the hardest of the interviews so far. Of all of our Universal horror characters, who's your favorite?
That's actually not hard. The Phantom of the Opera.
How did you feel about I was going to say the recent one, but that wasn't recent. I think that came out when I was in high school. Was it Gerard Butler?
The musical one? Gerard Butler, yeah. That's 20 years old this year.
20 years old.
2004, I remember.
Oh, God. Now I absolutely aged myself. You know, that recent movie from 20 years ago.
Van Helsing was 2004 as well. I'm like, yeah, I've got no hair left as it is.
I refuse to believe that. But I remember really liking that movie when it came out.
I remember I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, it's a Universal monster movie. And I remember reading like early press where they said that the creature from the Black Lagoon was going to be in it. So, and now there's the storyboards have come out where he would have been in it. He wasn't. I was like, I remember walking out there. I'm like, but why wasn't the creature like that? I wanted to see the creature in color and see like you have with the green and it was fun. And now I like it a lot more now than I did then. I don't know. I guess because I've adjusted to it and I see but it's not as bad as Reputation would have.
I agree. I've heard some bad things about it, but me and my friends rewatched it maybe a year ago. And to be fair, we did. Some beverages were consumed. So maybe we were like, this is incredible. We were just singing the whole time. Maybe it's the 20-year nostalgia that just kind of set in there.
But also, it's got some cool stuff like the whole steampunk atmosphere with like all his gadgetry and I mean, yeah, there's a lot of action, but you're kind of engaged and you kind of give a damn. Versus, I think now it's so just like chaotic and stuff. You can't.
Just CG for the sake of CG, yeah.
Yeah, the CGI is a bit rough around the edges, but it still feels old school Universal monster. That it isn't as far removed as like we probably thought it was back then. Or at least I thought. But yeah, to Phantom of the Opera, the musical with Gerard Butler. That's another one that's sort of appreciated in time. I don't like his disfigurement. I think he looks still too good. And,
it's hard to make Gerard Butler look ugly, man. It's a handsome dude.
He's got some acne.
Oh God, he's so hideous, but not really. He's still pretty hot. He's
not
pretty
really.
hot.
Yeah, you could do a bit more.
I think that was our consensus too. We were like, I'd do him. It's fine.
Yeah. But it's now I kind of. Again, for the fact that they did it and it's all like they built those sets, they had those extras there. They did it, in camera. And Joel Schumacher's passed away now, so it's like, oh, he's dead. And I love The Lost Boys, and I like Batman Forever. I'm a '90s kid.
Batman Forever, hell yeah.
It was a good movie, but I just don't like it. Just he needs to be more screwed up looking. I really like the Robert Englund Phantom of the Opera. That one never gets any love.
Absolutely.
But at least he's messed up looking in that.
Would you ever be interested in doing like your own remake of one of these movies?
Yeah, that's my end game.
Yeah.
That's like, in IMAX with IMAX cameras on location at the Paris Opera House and do it like the mystery novel that the novel is,
Hell
and
yeah.
you know, brush away all the glittery romance. It's like, no, this do it as the ghost story. It's a ghost
We're
story.
going to manifest that
And-
for you because I think that would be absolutely incredible. And your phantom is going to be disgusting and no one's going to want to sleep with him and it's going to be perfect. A proper disfigurement.
right, and a proper mask
Yes,
too. Like,
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today, Ansel. I want to give you the chance. Where can people find you? Where can they learn more about your work? Where can they buy The Great
Yeah.
Nick D when it comes out?
yeah, my the best sort of home base to find all of my work, all of my feature films, my web series, my couple short films, buy them on Blu-ray, DVD, or stream them. Is my website, Hollinsworth Productions, and I'll spell it. It's HOLLINSWORTH Productions. And there's also a YouTube channel, again, Hollinsworth Productions. And yeah, that's where you can find all my stuff.
Awesome.
And everything supports independent film, and you know, the 3 cents that I make in streaming, I put that into making another
That's
movie.
incredible. And
So-
one more time, when does The Great Nick D come out? When can people buy it?
The Great Nick D comes out on Blu-ray and DVD in June.
Beautiful. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for chatting, and I will definitely give all of your pages a follow.
Thank you so much. I had fun.
So, Shauna, he seemed like a pretty interesting guy. How was that interview?
Yeah, that was awesome. Anytime you get to talk to somebody about their project and something that they made and, you know, get to know them better, it's pretty cool. So, yeah, shout out to Ansel, and everybody check out The Great Nick D.
That's it for this episode, but before we go, where can our listeners find you online?
You can find me, Shauna, on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. I guess that's still a thing. At Shauna Trinidad, SHAUNATRINIDAD.
You can find me, Nicole, on Instagram and TikTok at Nicole_Eldridge.
And you can find me, Olivia, on Instagram at Livy Maries, LIVIMARIEZ, or on TikTok at Live Yo Life 420. And you can find the Pop Culture Junkie podcast social media links on our website, popculturejunkie.com. From there, you can find us on all podcast platforms, and you can make our day by clicking subscribe or following us and giving us a 5-star review. And come back next week for another hit of pop culture.
The Pop Culture Junkie podcast is produced by Jeff Markin and Cheryl Lightfoot for the Pop Culture Entertainment Network.
So entertain me right now. 'Cause I need